All right, here we go. Everything is set up, and we are officially live for week 13 of the Simulcast. Tony, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a tough loss in fantasy, but overall not too shabby.
Yep, you are telling me about that. I have been stumbling. Started the season 4-0. We're 6-6, folks. Yeah, it's been I mean, the injuries I had, they are now healthy, but I lost Rashid, and he was a big factor in my game plan this season. But it is what it is.
Yep, I've just been ups and downs
The ebbs
for
and
sure.
flows of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But
For sure.
I will say, Tony, I am rooting for you though here out because the people you are facing are directly around me, like technically us, but more so me. So if you win and they lose, and I win or lose, I still benefit.
Yep. So I'm playing Leary this week, I think. So
Yeah, I was gonna say the law firm showdown.
yes, sir.
Wow, it's crazy. But anywho, let's get into some NFL talk, Tony.
Let's
Um,
do it.
if do you let's how about you get started on the first game you wanted to talk about?
Sounds good. The first game I'm going to talk about was the Dolphins versus the Patriots. Tua Tagovailoa was near perfect in this game. They started off 31 unanswered points and never looked back. So for the stats for the Dolphins, Tua had was 29 for 40, 317 yards with four passing touchdowns. Absolutely shredded the Patriots defense. Devin Achan went 10 for 32, and Jalen Wright went seven carries for 28 yards. Not much rushing, not much of a run game, but they didn't need it because they had Jalen Waddle, who had eight catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown, which is by far his best game of the season. He's been a disappointment this year, but not against us. Jonu Smith, coming alive, went nine catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. And then Tyreek Hill, who's had a disappointing season this year, had five catches for 48 yards. And the other two touchdowns were caught by Devin Achan, who had three catches for 24 yards and two scores. The Dolphins just ran away with this game and never looked back. That's been the story of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May had a passing touchdown to Austin Hooper to break the 31-point unanswered by the Dolphins. And then Christian Gonzalez had a scoop score touchdown, which people thought the Pats had maybe a chance of coming back, but that obviously fell short. And the Dolphins won 34 to 15.
Yeah. Yeah, the John Smith revenge game is old as time, but also John just fits with that he fits in that offense really well. He
Yeah, he does.
I think he might have been
After
one
the
of the more
catch.
sneaky players, like one of the more sneaky fantasy player values of the season. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
drafted Johnny, like you probably won a few matchups because of that. Obviously, people
Oh, yeah.
probably paid to get him, but they probably paid after the fact to get him in like the waiver wire.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, how did Hunter Henry do this game? I honestly can't remember.
He had five catches for 44 yards. The
Yeah,
leading receiver was Pop Douglas. He went five for 62.
okay. I mean, those are for Hunter Henry is okay. I know that Hooper got the score, and then Pop
Yep.
Douglas like that's the I played him 3 weeks straight, and he did terrible. That's
Yep.
the you know what I mean, like 5 for 60. That's all I wanted because I know he's good in the slant, but that's not
Hmm.
terrible if you're like in bigger leagues for a flex spot.
No, definitely could be worse for sure.
Yes.
That's really all I have for this game. It was really a blowout. Dolphins just
Yeah.
dominated on both fronts.
Yep.
And Jalen Waddle shredded us, and Tua did as well.
Absolutely. All right. So the first game I want to talk about is from arguably the best division in the NFL right now. It was an NFC North matchup between the Vikings and the Bears. This one went into OT. I'm gonna be honest. I thought this was gonna be though, because every season there's always one game that ties. I thought this game was going to be it, but
Mm-hmm.
Vikings looks like they did not Blair Walsh themselves again because they won off a game-winning field goal. Sam Darnold had another great game, 330 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Aaron Jones had his 22 carries, 106 yards, and a rushing touchdown. He also sprinkled in 3 catches for 23 yards. Really good fantasy performance out of him. Another great fantasy performance was Jordan Addison, 8 for 162 and a touchdown, as well as TJ Hawk, who is known for this, and he 7 catches, 114 yards. He is if he was healthy all season, I would love to see where his stats would have been. He's just a really good tight end.
Oh yeah, just a solid player.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson had a very quiet 2 for 27. To be fair, he was pretty much double covered all game. But it was a very quiet game from him. On the flip side, Caleb Williams had another great performance as well. Both quarterbacks played really well. Caleb Williams had 340 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 6 times for 33 yards. Actually, he was the leading rusher for the team because DeAndre Swift was 13 rushes for 30 yards, and Roshan Johnson had the most LeGarrette Blount rushing line of all time. 2 rushes, 2 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Receiving, we had some vets doing vet things. DJ Moore, 7 for 106 and a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 9 for 86 and a touchdown. Cole Kmet even had 7 catches for 64 yards. Roma Dunze was a little bit more quiet with 5 catches for 39 yards. But, I mean, if you had a player outside of Justin Jefferson and, I mean, maybe DeAndre Swift, I mean, he had 3 for 35, so he might have broke even on the day, but 3 for 35 catching and 13 for 30 rushing. But pretty much, if you played anyone in this game, it helped you out a lot. This was like the quintessential. This is why we play a fantasy type game. It was really fun to watch as well.
Yes, it was. I had Keenan Allen, and he played really good.
Yeah, I know you and me were watching this little box of a game for a lot of it. I mean, I was watching for the Aaron Jones stuff, but this is a really fun game, really, and I mean, pretty much everyone that plays well, I'm sure, is already owned. There's really no sneaky guy to pick up to in your final 2 weeks, unless it's one of the kickers. But yeah, really fun game. But that's what I got for that game.
Yeah, so I will kick it over for the Titans and the Texans. So the Titans pulled off the upset. They beat Houston 32-27. Texans, CJ Stroud has been very average this year. He has not been as he definitely regressed a little bit, but he's not bad, but he's just been an average quarterback, nothing special. So let's start it off with the stat line. With the Titans, Will Levis went 18 for 24. He had 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Tony Pollard had a great day. He had 24 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. He absolutely shredded the Houston defense. Calvin Ridley was the leader for the Titans, who had 5 catches for 93 yards. He's really starting to have a resurgence the last few weeks, which is good for me because I have him. And then I don't know.
Just go Okonkwo.
Okonkwo had a 170-yard strike for a score, and it was to take the lead. They Titans went up 30-27 and never looked back. They actually got a safety as well, and they went up 32-27, and that was the final score. Tyler Boyd, I've not seen much of him this year. He had 6 catches for 55 yards. And then Nick Westbrook-Ikine had 2 catches, 48 yards, and a score. So, yeah, the Titans played really good. They clicked, and I'm stunned that they beat Houston. Enormous upset. For the Texans side of the ball, CJ Stroud went 20 for 33 with 247 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions as well. A very quiet day for Joe Mixon, who had who's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal all year, but not today. He had 14 carries for 22 yards and only averaged 1.6 yards a carry. He did not play well. The leading receiver for the Texans was Nico Collins, who on his he went 5 for 92 and a touchdown. This Tank Dell went 3 for 72, and then the backup tight end Cade Stover went 3 for 26 and a touchdown. Yeah, this was a stunner. I can't believe Tennessee won this game. An absolute stunner.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised Tennessee won it. That's why when he mentioned Houston losing, I said they're frauds because I kind of think they are. They were just playing a weak division, um, and they kind of beat up on the division. So, but like they lost in a division game, which makes you think like if/when they get in the playoffs, it's probably going to be a one and done for them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're getting healthier, but I mean, they lost to the Titans, man. That's a bottom third team. Like,
Yes, it is.
I
They
know
should
there was
not have
some
lost.
good fantasy performances out of people on both sides of the ball, but I mean, Houston, man,
You can't lose to the Titans.
you
That's
can't
just tough.
you can't lose to the Titans.
No.
If it's like a
Gotta
week
be.
1, week 2, or week 3 of the year, chalk it up. You know what I mean? Early in the season, okay, whatever. But this deep into the season, like you should be
Nope.
you should be beating them.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. But all right. Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it for that game.
All right. The next game I wanted to talk about was the Monday night game, Ravens Chargers, the hard bowl. I predicted it wrong. I thought the Chargers were going to have a better day, but I'll get to that more in a second. Ravens went in there. Honestly, they won 30-23. It felt like a 40-10 game. It really did. Lamar Jackson actually, I mean, Lamar Jackson had a pretty good fantasy day, but the stat book doesn't really show it. He only had 177 passing yards. He did have 2 touchdowns. One was a great touchdown pass too, and then he ran the ball 8 times for 15 yards with a rushing touchdown. Derrick Henry, monster day, 140 rushing yards, no touchdown though. Justice Hill though, I know you're happy about this one. He had 4 carries, 55 yards, and a rushing touchdown. 40 of those 55 was on the touchdown run, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and he gave me false hope.
Yep. Receiving wise, relatively quiet. Zay Flowers 5 for 62. Mark Andrews 5 for 44 with a touchdown. Rashad Bateman 2 for 43 and a touchdown. And then Tylan Wallace, Justice Hill, Charlie Kohler each caught a couple more balls. Defense. Ravens defense had a lot of sacks. They had like 4 or 5 sacks. No interceptions though. Chargers side of the ball, Justin Herbert, he had 218 passing yards, and he did run the ball for 29 yards and ran one in, but nothing else passing wise. Their leading rusher was a person who actually got hurt. It was J.K. Dobbins, who was 6 for 40, but it sounds like he's gonna miss some time because it sounds like the injury's not that good. It's pretty serious from what I should say. It makes you think, is it going to be Hassan Haskins? Is it going to be Kamani Vidal? Who's going to step up? Are they going to bring someone off the street? We'll find out. Receiving-wise, Ladd McConkey had a great day at 6 for 83. Will Dissly had another fair tight end performance at 4 for 47. Josh Palmer, Jalen Reagor, J.K. Dobbins each also caught a couple balls. The big one is Quentin Johnson. 6 targets, no catches. That is not good. The QJs come down to life.
He did some cardio.
Yep, quite a bit of cardio, as I should say. But yeah, I mean, Ravens handily won this one. Thought it would be a little bit more interesting, especially because the offensive coordinator for the Chargers was the OC for the last 3 seasons in Baltimore. But nope. Ravens kind of had this one relatively secured by the end of the third quarter. I mean, the fourth quarter they put on 13, but like it looked like, I mean, at the end of 3, like Ravens are winning this. So
yeah, oh yeah.
But that's what I got for that game.
Yeah, Ravens started slow, but once they settled in, it was off to the races.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about our studs and duds this week. I'll start with my offensive stud, Josh Jacobs. He had 26 rushes, 106 yards, and a hat trick. Uh, Phenomenal day, lots of fantasy points. That is my offensive stud of this past week.
My stud of the week is Saquon Barkley, who had 26 carries, 255 yards, two rushing touchdowns, and then he had four catches for 47 yards as well. He had 302 all-purpose yards. He I think has been the best running back. He's in the MVP conversation at this point. He's just
Yeah,
absolutely killing.
yeah, he definitely should be in the MVP. Definitely for fantasy, but he should also be for NFL as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my defense or kicking stud this week is actually Dallas defense. Yes, they let up 26 points, but they got 22 fantasy points. They had 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and they had 2 touchdowns. I had to give them credit. That was a great performance out of them.
Oh yeah.
And if you played them, like, you probably were hoping for 5 or 6. You got 22.
Oh yeah. That's phenomenal. So my stud for the special teams is Will Lutz. He had 22 fantasy points. He had 250-yarders, 40 to 49, and 239-yarders with 2 PATs made. He finished the day with 22 points. He's been lights out for the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dud, I mean, you could have just looked at half my fantasy team and could have chose it half of them. I saw a crazy thing, and it said Sleeper on Twitter does like your worst possible fantasy lineup this week. 5 of the 9 players I played, so that's tough to see. I was so ticked off at these two guys. I put them both down. Quentin Johnston and Deebo Samuel. They're both my duds. I usually like to stick it to one, but God, dude, both of them ticked me off. They both had a chance to do really well, like especially because like the Niners they had their backup quarterback in, and like you think the slants, the check downs, kind of like the end around stuff. That's all in Deebo's wheelhouse.
Yep.
Where was he? He caught one ball. Like, come on, dude. And he clanked 3 other targets. Like, and then Quentin Johnston, he was just out running cardio, dropping 6 passes. Like, so I had to put them both in as my duds because they ticked me off.
Oh yeah, the terrible, terrible stuff. My dud of the week is Jonathan Taylor, who had a very quiet day. He had 3.5 fantasy points. He had 11 rush attempts for 35 yards. Granted, it's a good defense, but you expect more out of JT.
Yeah, like at least hit the 50 mark, dude.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Especially on 11 carries.
Oh yeah.
But
awful.
All right. So little different segment since we are on a Tuesday because of the holiday this week. Let's talk about some potential free agents that to pick up that might be worth picking up. I'm gonna quickly go through some of the top projected people this week in each of the positions, Tony. I'm probably gonna list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 6 or 7 people, and tell me if per position, and tell me worth it or not worth it. All right.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So in the quarterback position, I'm just going off of our big money league, so there might be more people available, but this is a 14-man league, so there's really not a ton of people available, but be that as it may, we'll go with this. First one, Caleb Williams. Worth it or not worth it?
For 1 week, definitely not. He's playing the Lions. I think the Lions are gonna. I don't think Caleb's gonna repeat what he did last week. So I'd say no.
All right, Derek Carr.
He. If you're in bye week, hell maybe because the Rams D isn't that good. So
you
I'd
do
say
love your Saints.
If you're in bye week, hell yes.
All right, Will Levis.
No, he's too inconsistent. You can't play him. He has a lot of fumbles this year. I don't think he's consistent enough. So I'm gonna go no.
Bryce Young.
He ain't repeating what he did. He is no. He looked like he had a great day. He put up 19. No,
All right.
absolutely not.
And if this person goes, Aiden O'Connell.
Oh God, no, definitely not. Nope.
All right. Wide
I think he's 10.
receivers. I'm going to get 5 or 6, all right? Devon
Okay.
Vele.
Ooh. Yes. If you're in bye week hell, yes. He's at 11 points, 8 points, and then 11 the last 3 weeks. He's on the rise, so I would say yes.
All right. And where did I accidentally click the wrong page? All right, Pop Douglas.
No, you can't trust the Patriots at this point.
All right,
I'm sorry, you can't.
Noah Brown.
If you're desperate, definitely.
The
He
ceiling's
could be a good
there.
plug and play. Yeah, the ceiling's there. So if you need a plug and play guy, you're in a deep lead like us, then yeah, you can. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'd say yes.
All right, Ray McLeod.
Um, no, I'd say no. I don't think he's. Yeah, I think the ceiling's not high enough. I'd say
All right,
not worth it.
all right, Elijah Moore.
No, he has bagel potential. Can't
I'm
do it.
on the opposite side. I'm gonna say yes because I don't think Tillman's gonna be playing anytime soon.
That's true. So that changes things. So
Well,
yeah, I'd say yes.
I think it's all dependent on if Tillman goes or not. And the last one, Nick Westbrook Akine.
Um, I think he scored the last couple of times. He only had 2 catches when in his 20-point fantasy outing, and he only had 2 catches in his. I think he just scored. He got lucky, so his luck's gonna run out. I'd say no.
All right. I'm only gonna say a very, very few because there's really no one running back wise. Braylon Allen,
No, definitely not.
J-
Unless you
Jaleel,
have Brees and you need a handcuff.
yeah, true. Jaleel McLaughlin.
Nope. Avoiding the Broncos backfield.
If he goes, Samir White.
No, definitely not.
All right. Yeah, I think Amir Abdullah's production kind of. I think they're gonna roll Amir until he duds, in my opinion, because he had a great game.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Noah Gray. We're on tight ends now.
Um, um, if you're desperate, I'd say absolutely play him because he's had double-digit fantasy points the last 2 weeks. I'd say yes.
Tyler Conklin.
No, you can't trust him.
Jawan Johnson.
No,
Austin Hooper.
he ain't repeating last week. No,
Chig Okonkwo.
he got lucky. He had 1 target and he scored. I'd say no.
All right. And I'm not going to go into kickers and defenses because those are usually flyers. People drop them all throughout the season. So
Yeah.
we don't normally do this often, but then again, we also don't normally cast on Tuesday. So usually the ad drops have already processed through. So that was a fun little segment.
Yes, it was.
All right, into this, like, kind of pivoting forward, going into this upcoming week, our bold predictions. Tony, I'm going to start with mine. I said the Dolphins are going to shrivel. I think Packers are going to kind of have a similar performance against how they did against the Niners. I think they're going to do against the Dolphins because it's projected to be like 15 degrees on Thanksgiving night. And you know how the Dolphins are in cold weather. Prime example, look at their playoff game against the Chiefs.
Yep. I think they could do it. They're hot, You think this is when it runs out?
You think Tua not do it?
Jordan Love could Jordan Love can do a good stinker. He's done it before.
Yeah, I mean, the game against the Niners was the first game he didn't throw a pick. Like, what the heck?
I watched.
I mean, to be fair, he did throw a pick, but there was a flag on the play, so it got called off.
Yeah, my bold prediction's actually in that game too. I think Tyreek Hill gets right. I think he finally scores. I think he scores. Finally. That's my. Oh, this is different than bet of the week. Shoot.
Well, I mean, that could just be a bold prediction. It's a Tyreek Hill get right game.
Yep, I think it's a Tyreek Hill get right team. I think he scores at least once, and he has I think he has at minimum 80 yards.
All right. So I mean, we might as well just segue over to the bets of the week now. We're not going to be able to give as much detail this because a lot of the bets are not out yet. So me and Tony have pretty much just said we pretty much what the bets we're going to pick are going to be for the most part. I mean, my bet of the week is a Thursday bet, so it's like there's already lines for that. But a lot of the Friday, the Sunday, and the Monday games, nothing's out yet. So we won't have the odds percentages, but I'll probably make a video either Thursday tomorrow night or Thursday morning once the lines are out, and I'll upload it onto the channel just so we have that. Bet of the weeks, you might as well continue because he said it's going to be your bet of the week is in this game.
Yep, Tyreek Hill anytime plus 140 is my bet of the week.
All right, well, I wasn't looking at this. I mean, it's a Thursday game, so that's why there's the percentage. My bet, as I just said, was a Thursday one. I have Lions minus 10. That's at minus 112, but it's the Lions, and it's the Bears. The Lions are cooking. I'd be stunned if they fall flat. They fell flat 2 weeks ago. The previous time they fell flat was like 6 weeks ago. I don't think they're going to fall flat twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I have Lions minus 10. The parlays.
Mine is full Thursday. So.
It's full Thursday? Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Mine is not. But Tony, if you want to go through with your 3-leg parlay, the floor is all yours.
All right, it's 3 teams, so it's no players, so no injuries to worry about. My first one is Dallas Cowboys minus 3.5 at minus 110. My controversial one, because I also have a very heavy favorite, is I have Dolphins money line. I think they stun the Packers.
What's that at?
That's plus 145.
Okay.
And then I have the Lions at minus 500. And that's a 3-pick parlay. It's plus
wait. Lions money line or Lions what?
Money line minus 500.
Because you said Lions at minus 500, and I was like, wait, what?
No.
All right, what's the full parlay at?
Plus 461.
All right. So my parlay, I don't have all that because they're mainly for Sunday. But what I'm going to bet is I'm going to bet the Joe Burrow over on his passing yards bet. I'm going to bet James Cook 2+ rushing touchdowns. And I'm going to bet Brian Thomas over on his receiving yards. Over under.
All right. What's that?
I don't know. They're not out yet.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So I don't know what they're out yet, but it's probably going to be a pretty decent one mainly because of the James Cook 2+. But I will, like as I said, I'm going to do a quick little 2 or 3 minute video either tomorrow night or Thursday morning and immediately upload it with bets. So you will see those shortly.
Yes.
But last thing is where we're at with the bankroll. So going into last week, we missed week 11 because I was having technical issues. Week 12, I had the week 11 and week 12 guests come on. We went into that week at minus $6.59. So we had 3 bet of the weeks and 3 parlays. One of the parlays hit, which was the lowest parlay of the three, but a parlay hit. I'm pretty sure that was the first parlay from a guest that hit as well this year. And the all three bet of the weeks hit. So we went from minus $6.59 to minus $5.24. So we're still down, but
Yep.
guess what? Magic happens on Thanksgiving football. So our bets of the week and your parlay is gonna hit, and my parlay is gonna hit because all three of those guys are facing me, and I'm not doing good in fantasy this year. So
Yep.
I can't wait till all these bets hit and we're back in the positive for the final week of the cast.
Oh yeah.
So
Looking forward to it. Them all hitting.
for sure. I cannot wait to make some serious money. Speaking of serious money, our league, the Big Money League, 14-man league. Yeah, let's go over our matchups. I'll look over yours, you look over mine, and we will say who we like and who we don't like.
All right.
Per usual. I'll start with your game because it'll be the more interesting one. So right now you have Kyler Murray against Minnesota versus your opponent who has Bo Nix against Cleveland. I'm gonna be honest. Brian Flores coaches Minnesota D. He's a D coordinator. They're scary. I'm leaning Bo Nix on this one.
Okay.
Then your opponent's got Jamison Williams and Jalen Waddle, and you got Calvin Ridley and Keenan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like Calvin Ridley in this matchup. JMO,
Yep.
I think JMO's gonna have a strike.
I do too.
I'm gonna be so. The thing is this is kind of tough because I really like Calvin and I really like JMO, but I do not like Waddle and I do not like Keenan in this situation. However,
that's fair.
I do think Keenan's floor is a little bit higher, so this is like a 51% to 49% in your favor.
Okay. That's fair.
You have Kenneth Walker against the Jets and Alvin Kamara against the Rams. Your opponent's got Kyron Williams against New Orleans and Jonathan Taylor against New England. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to run all over us, so
I do too.
I'm edging your opponent's running backs. Although the running backs are probably going to be the big workhorse in this matchup on both sides.
Yeah.
And then for tight ends, you have Evan Ingram against Houston, and your opponent has Brock Bowers against Kansas City. Kansas City's been letting up a lot of points, and Evan Ingram has been kind of quiet this year, so I am leaning Brock Bowers.
That's fair.
Tight flex position, he's got Brian Robinson, and you have CeeDee Lamb. Both are actually ironically questionable, but let's just say they both go, I'm leaning heavily CeeDee Lamb against the Giants on Thanksgiving. Kickers, Kaimi Fairbairn against Will Lutz. I gotta give it to Will Lutz, Denver. Will Lutz is at home. I think he's gonna have a better opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Cleveland D against Denver for your opponent, and you have Houston D against Jacksonville. Heavily Houston D against Jacksonville. Whether it's Trevor Lawrence or McCorkle, their defense is going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, it's like 60%. I'm leaning towards you to beat your opponent.
All right. I hope you're right. Let me go to your matchup. For the QBs, you have Jared Goff, and he has Joe Burrow. I'm going to lead Joe Burrow despite Pittsburgh's D being pretty good. I'm going to lean Joe Burrow on this one because I think Burrow has a higher floor because the running backs could just be off to the races in the Thanksgiving game.
Yep.
So for receivers, I'm going to go it's Neighbors and Jamar Chase versus Nico Collins and Deebo Samuel. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors and Jamar Chase. Your opponent this year, I think, has the best team. If a reference, he has the best team in our league, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's the first. He's ranked number 1 right now.
Yeah, he has the best team in the league.
Yeah.
For running backs, he has Joe Mixon and James Cook. And you have Aaron Jones and Brees Hall. I'm going to lead his running backs like 51-49. Because Joe Mixon against Jacksonville, he had a bad week. He's going to get right. And James Cook's been just killing it this year. So I go 51-49, his running backs, even though Brees Hall and Aaron Jones are no slouches.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end, I'm going to lead you. It's David Njoku versus Hunter Henry. I'm going to lead you because I think the Browns are bad, but I think they're better than the Patriots. So I'm going to lead you on the tight end department.
At least I got something.
We got Brian Thomas Jr. versus your enemy right now, Quentin Johnson. I'm shocked he's still in.
I'm going to be honest. I switched it, but I guess it didn't save. Give me 1 second. I legit put Mike Gesicki in there, but it didn't save.
All right.
So act as if it's Mike Gesicki.
All right. Let me put that in. Let me pull it back up. 1 second.
It's not.
All right. Mike Gesicki versus Brian Thomas. You're doing the good old, he's on the QB. He's got Burrow. You're plugging him in. Maybe you get a score. Maybe a trade off a score. I'm still going to go Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But I get why you're playing Gesicki.
Yeah.
Maybe he just scores and mitigates one of Burrow's touchdowns.
Or it could be the Gesicki 100-yard 2-touchdown game again. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? It's fantasy. It's crazy. Your kickers are a toss-up. It's Dicker the kicker versus Josh Carty. I mean, that's a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's really a toss-up. He has Pittsburgh D. You have Buffalo D. If Brock Purdy doesn't go, I'm leaning Buffalo D on this one. I'm taking Buffalo D over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's even if Brock Purdy does go, I think, even if Brock Purdy doesn't go, I think there's still a chance that he, like Buffalo D, could still have a strong outing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so with that being said, who do you think's winning?
I think Boston is the favorite. I think he's gonna win.
Yeah, I just hope I keep it close. I'm not expecting to win this week. I'm hoping I win. It all come down to next week, which my opponent next week has Saquon Barkley. The last week of it's oh my gosh. Baltimore's on bye next week. Week 14. Yeah. However, Houston's also on bye. So
he has Baker Mayfield against Vegas.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Mark's team's really good too.
Yeah. I've been telling you, the final 4 weeks I had the toughest strength of schedule.
Yep.
But it is what it is. But I just hope I'm either the last playoff spot or I'm just in one of those 9th, 10th, 11th place purgatory spots. So I don't have to worry about the seat. Oh, yeah.
I was a purgatory man last year.
Now, honestly, with how my season's going, I'll take it. Because it's I'm not going to be in 14th at the end of the regular season. I can tell you that by record.
Yeah.
But honestly, I hate to say it, but let's see. I just need Cap to lose one of the next 2 games. So hopefully it's week 14. Hopefully he wins this week but loses next week. So then I don't have to worry about the toilet seat game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much where we're standing at. But
for sure,
it's still been a fun fantasy season despite a lot of injuries and everything. It's not like a couple of 3 years ago when 9 of my first 10 draft picks missed minimum 5 weeks.
Yeah.
and I had 4 that had season-ending stuff. So it's like,
Mhm.
what am I gonna do? That was just a terrible
Yeah.
year. I'd watch the 1 o'clocks and go home because I was like, I don't want to watch football. And
Yeah.
ironically, that was the season that got me back into Fortnite, and I've been playing all that a lot ever since.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Tony, I think that's where we are going to call it because we pretty much covered everything we need to cover right now.
We did. We've been through it a lot, so we fly through a little quicker.
Oh yeah, of course. You bar none have had the most appearances. We know
Mhm.
how the layout is and segueing and everything, so everything goes a lot smoother. We would definitely go longer if chat was a little bit more live, but that's neither
Mhm.
here nor there. It's all good. But yeah, that's I think we're gonna call it. So Tony, as always, thank you for coming on. I got you next week. But
Yep.
I might see if a couple other people might want to hop on so we can kind of have a little chit chat. Well, maybe not next week. Maybe week 16, December 18th.
Mhm.
Maybe we might have a couple other people on so we could talk about uh, fantasy MVPs, fantasy LVPs, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Kind of talk about the All Star team, like you know, the best person in each position. That'd be the All Star team, aka we're gonna just talk about Boston's team
Yep.
minus Saquon. Um, but
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know. We might do that. We might not. We really haven't done that before, but we'll see how it goes. But I
Yep.
will talk to you later, Tony, and probably see you Sunday for some football, right?
Yeah, I should be there.
All right, sounds good, dude. Well, as always, thanks for hopping on, and hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yep, it was great being on, like always. So thanks for
Appreciate
having me.
that, man. See you later, dude.
Later.
All right, YouTube. That's gonna do it for me. So I will see you all next week.